Oh, you guys with ESU Cribs? Oh man, welcome. Come on in. Welcome to the Jack Gregory Memorial Football Locker Room. This is our home to ESU Warrior Football, graciously donated by a ton of alums, over 300 people that answered the call and was able to do it. Welcome to our new home. When you walk in, you see one of my favorite players, one of my childhood heroes, Damian Pelusi, wore number 13, threw over 40 touchdowns in 10 games, was one of the top statistical Division II quarterbacks of all time. When you walk in this room, you get to see my childhood hero, Pelusi, in the number 13. That number's haunted, folks. You know, so when you come to East Stroudsburg, that number 13 means a little bit to me. It means a little bit to the program. When you walk in, you'll take a look. We have the offensive side led by the offensive line, and you have the defensive line on this side. So when you walk into our house, you know, the offense goes this way, the defense. Come on, follow me with me this way. Now, every one of these lockers, as you'll see, has a nameplate on it. Different Warrior alums, true Warriors from different eras that donated to our cause, that donated to have their name on their lockers. These guys are guys that were All-Americans, all Pennsylvania Conference. These were guys that were Harlan Hill nominations, academic All-Americans, guys that came back for many years. One of my all-time favorites is this one. This is Evan Prahl's locker. Okay, for those of you that don't know Evan Prahl, he was my go-to guy. He was our wide receiver, was one of the top statistical champions in Division II receiving, played with the New York Jets, the Arizona Cardinals. As an old quarterback, I was pretty happy to be able to throw to him. Right next to him was John Jeffrey, so it was back-to-back, both of my receivers. Real special place in this locker room to me. When you come down through, this is the entire defensive side. You get a good look at Brent Voyner. Brent Voyner was an All-Pennsylvania Conference defensive back. Through his generosity, he named the defensive backs corner. So right in here, when you're a DB at East Stroudsburg University, lockdown U, this is the area you're going to be in. So our cornerbacks and our safeties have their own little spot in our new home. Come on with me this way. We have a real special spot I want to show to you in our home. This is Dwayne Van Fleet. Dwayne Van Fleet played for us in the 80s. His generosity, he named the captain's quarters. So all of our defensive captains, they're in the middle of the room. So as you got the defensive line here, you get the linebackers on this room, the DBs got their own corners. Well, here is all the defensive captains. And I look forward to seeing generations of generations come in of leaders, you know, to be able to play in the Dwayne Van Fleet captain's corners. One neat thing about our new home is we have an academic center. I can't tell you how many times, you know, I'm in the middle of a meeting and a player will come up, hey, Coach Twig, can I print out a paper that's due? Well, you probably should have done it probably a week beforehand, but it happens to the best of us. So we put in our new home an academic center. This is a room that's dedicated strictly to academic success. So as you walk in, the main goal, you know, is to graduate, you know, and be able to stay above the line. Our line here is a 3.0 GPA. So when you come in here, get the mindset of warrior in the classroom. Do it. We have a saying at our program: before you compete, be a scholar in the seat, and it's all going to start here. One neat thing that I like, I believe readers or leaders are readers. You know, so one neat thing that we have in our new home, every time I read a book, you know, the book goes here. And if you take a book, leave a book. And when you bring it back, sign a little bit, your name in the back of it, and we build our library. Hopefully our players will take advantage of, you know, being able to take a look at a couple of different genres of reading, you know, self-growth, you know, entrepreneur, you know, books, and books that just about being a better person. This was made possible by the generosity of the Tony Drago and the Fred Masonheimer family. Dr. Drago is our faculty mentor. You know, I tell people all the time, he's the most important coach that we have on staff. Dr. Drago works with everything from academic success to scheduling to meeting with our players to financial aid. Between him and Fred Masonheimer, we've been very blessed to have great support system for academically and for student success. It's the top in the country. You know, we're very blessed for him to be able to donate to our academic center. Come on over this way. We're going to enter the offensive side. When you enter the offensive side of the locker room, you're going to have to pass by every day the Greg Garzio lineman trench. Greg Garzio, another one of my heroes, passed away tragically a couple years ago, and through the generosity of his family and the players that he played with, we named the entire lineman trench after Greg. He was a mammoth of a man, a mammoth of a personality. We love him. He means a lot to our program, and there's not a time that you'll walk into our locker room without seeing big Gars. And I know the offensive linemen, when they come in, this is the trench that they're going to be in. So our left tackle, our guard, our center, and everybody through here is in the middle of the room. Come on this way. I want to show you a couple things. This is the offensive side of the room. Okay. This captain's quarters. We had our defensive captain's quarters. This captain's quarters here for the offense was made possible by the generosity of Mike Mancuso. Mike Mancuso was an all-everything wide receiver for us in the mid to late 90s. He played with my childhood hero, Damian Pelusi, and they broke a ton of records here. Between Mike has been an avid warrior. He did everything on the field and off the field. We're very proud of him. We're very thankful for his contribution to our locker room. Now, one of the coolest things about this locker room to me is we've always had a coach's room. So the players, if they need to go watch tape, we need to make adjustments. We have coaches that are able to come in and watch tape with our players from time to time. This is the Pry Garver's coach's room. Now, Jim Pry was our offensive coordinator in the mid to early 90s. Jim was kind of the innovator of the air raid offense. And back in those days, they were throwing the ball before throwing the ball was a unique thing to do in college football. And then what we also have is Gary Garver. Gary Garver and his family have meant a lot to our program. Gary was our running backs coach. He was a running back here for many years. Between the generosity of the Brent and the Brent Pry, the entire Pry family, and the Garver family, they named this after those two. You see, it's called the Taj Mahal. There's a background story to that. In the old school locker room, there was just an old swimming coach's room that many assistant coaches came through from years to years. And if you look at the network, you look at the tree of coaches that have come out of East Stroudsburg, you're talking about James Franklin, you're talking about Vic Fangio, you're talking about Brent Pry, the head coach of Virginia Tech, John Glenn. These are all guys that started here. And we hope to be able to bring the next great group of coaches out of East Stroudsburg. And this is the area that they'll do it. They have got opportunity for whiteboards, film on between here, a copier. This will be kind of the war room for the East Stroudsburg University football coaches. One unbelievable spot I got to mention to you guys from ESU Cribs that holds a special spot in my heart is this locker right here, the corner locker. This is head coach Denny Dowds, coached the greatest men in the world, the ESU Warriors. He was our head football coach from 1974 to 2018. I consider Denny like a second father. He's not only a mentor to me, he was my head ball coach. He's been a family friend. What he's done for me in my life, and many of the other Warriors that put their names on these lockers, and all the other Warriors that have come through this program. This is a meaningful locker to me. It's special. I'm completely honored and humbled to be able to carry the torch that he sent. When we walk into the Eiler Martin Stadium, I always call it the house that Denny built. And I'm very, very happy that this is his locker. The person that's in this locker's got big shoes to fill. That's my guy. Come on this way. As you come through the room, you wanted an open concept. So if I'm sitting here and I'm Chad Parton, I'm getting ready for a game, I should be able to sit into my locker. I should be able to look at everybody else. And this is kind of where you grow the team. To me, the locker room is more than a place to just change before practice and before game. This is a place you celebrate great wins. You mourn the tough challenges. You build relationships. To me, that's about people. That's why in this concept that we put together, people looking at people. You didn't see benches or rows. I want you to be able to sit in your room. I want you to be able to sit in the locker room and talk to your brothers on the other side. And that's something that we believe in here, and that's why our mantra is blood runs thick. Come on this way. I want to show you a couple other things. Obviously, when you walk through it, this is a very special spot to me. These two lockers are for Pat Flaherty. He's my godfather, and Mike Terwilliger. That's the old man. These two guys were all everything. Pat was an All-American. Dad was his quarterback. So center quarterbacks always have a great relationship. These two guys being in this side of the room, always a soft spot in my heart when I walk into the Warrior locker room. Another one I want to point out is this one right here. This is by Bill Lewis. Bill Lewis was the head coach at Georgia Tech. Worked many years in East Carolina. He's been a head coach at multiple Division I schools. Bill was the alumni donor that stepped forward and named this locker room the Jack Gregory football locker room. He did that in honor of his coach that got him started. To me, there's no greater pride for a coach than when your player names it after you. And for Coach Lewis, I hope that someday I can be the type of coach that our players want to name something after. I'm really appreciative of that. Another special one to me is this one, Bill Bergen. Okay, Bill Bergen passed away in 2018. We named the Bill Bergen Memorial Golf Tournament after Bill. Bill was an all-everything defensive end here. He was an avid supporter and was an avid worker in the Warrior Football Club that raised nearly $1 million for football scholarships. Bill passed away in 2018. He is my godfather. He's my Uncle Bill. And this locker, to me, every time I pass it, is something that means something to me. Come on, follow me out this way. I want to show you some more cool things. When you come through, one of the neat areas of this room is this. When you look at this to me speaks tradition. This to me speaks about legacy. The great Warriors that came before and the great Warriors that are going to come after. This is the Doug Leonzi 94 Hall of Champions. This is in honor of the Old Hats. I want to explain that. Doug was an All-American wide receiver for us in the early 90s when they had championship teams. Doug is an avid part of a group they called the Old Hats, guys that wore the old Warrior head on their helmets. This is where all NFL draft picks, Harlan Hill candidates, all consensus All-Americans, PSAC major award winners, and then all PSAC first team selections. Every year we add on to this. This is where it happens. And I can't wait for the future Warriors to add their names to this list. We're gonna have to find some more wall space, but for Doug's generosity and to be able to name that after the players that he played with, that to me screams blood runs thick. And then over here, the first thing you do when you walk into our room, you see our mascot, you see our logo. To me that branding is huge. When you walk in, I want this to be something that's really powerful. East Stroudsburg Warrior football. Okay, this is a special place. This is where Warriors belong. It should be the first thing you see when you enter the room and the last thing you see when you leave the room. Last thing I want to show you guys, if you come on down here and you take a look, this to me is probably the most meaningful piece of this entire room. This room didn't happen by osmosis. It didn't happen by a fund or a grant. It happened on the backs of Warrior alums. You take a look at all these names of people who donated to building this home for us, and this to me is what Warriors football is about. We titled our campaign, "You Win in the Locker Room First." Every great team I ever played on, every great team I ever coached, they had a bond that lasted a lifetime. And you won that bond in the locker room. It didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter what high school you went to, what position you had, what your high school accolades are, what your skin color was, your race, your color, your creed, whatever it was. If you were a Warrior, when you came here, you won in the locker room first. And this is a testament right here to me of what this house is about. And this is Warrior football. And I'm very proud as an alum. I'm humbled as a head football coach, and I cannot wait to present this to our future Warriors, which will be pretty special. Now, I would love to take all day with you, and I'd love to go, but we got practice, and we got to get better. We got to sharpen the sword. So, if you don't mind, guys, I got to get you out of here. I got to kick you out. It's great seeing you. We'll see you next time.